Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Very exciting video for you guys today. I have a package that just came in from Ulta that we're gonna rip open and test out today. I have a new eyeshadow palette. We'll be trying a face palette that I'll be honest guys, I have mixed feelings about. We'll talk about it. I also have a new lip gloss, a set of eyelashes that I'm wearing that were not the easiest things to put on, so we'll talk about those as well. And also a new concealer. We're gonna try those things out today together. This is the look that we will be creating. I have varied thoughts on some of these products. I do like the way the look turned out. We will get into it all, but before we do, a very special welcome to any of you that are new here. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope that you enjoy this video. Please be sure to subscribe and make sure notifications are turned on. And with that, we have got a lot of makeup to put on, so let's get right to it. Okay, so let me just walk you guys through what I picked up first. I picked up two sets of lashes. One of these I have bought before. This is the Eyeshadow London 3/4 length. These are my favorites that I've tried other than the ones, the Emma Willis ones that I've talked about here on my channel before, which are very difficult to find. You can buy these at Ulta. They are the number 003 3/4 length lashes and they are beautiful. I do have to end up cutting off that inner cluster or two to get them to fit to actually be 3/4 length on me because my eyes are a little bit smaller. So these go almost all the way in on me. They do say no trim. I like to trim mine though. I also picked up these. These are new from Eyeshadow London. These are the number 5 light volume 3/4 length ones in the blue box. These ones look very thick. I'm gonna try these ones out today. I can already tell I'm not sure I'm gonna like them because I don't usually like lashes that are too thick or too dark along the bottom there. So there's like no spaces between the lashes. They generally tend to look a little bit too heavy on my eyes. We'll give them a try anyways. Maybe I'll be wrong. I also picked up two concealers from Flower Beauty. These are the Get Real Serum concealers. They were on sale. A little bit concerned about the shades that I selected. I should have gone just a little bit darker, but hopefully one of them at least will work for me. I got a new Yummy Gloss in the coconut flavor or scent. I'm excited to try this. I picked up this, which was also on sale, the Tarte Glow Bar palette. I don't know anything about this, and as I was reading the back of the box, it sounds a lot like an Hourglass palette, which you guys know I have some slight issues with some of the Hourglass luminous powders, which this sounds like it's kind of similar to that. We'll see. We'll give it a try and see. It does have a highlighter and a bronzer in it. Hopefully at least those will work for me, and fortunately it was on sale for I think like 30 or 40% off. I got a palette from ColourPop that looks beautiful, and then I got a lip liner. I already have one of these. This is just one of the LA Girl Nonstop Nude Intense Auto Liner lip liners that I love. So that's all the new stuff, but we're gonna get started with some primer. I don't have a new one. We're gonna just go with my Flower Beauty priming whip. I probably should have picked up one of these in my order because Flower Beauty's products were on sale for, I want to say 25% off, and I'm just about out. This is one of my favorite primers. So nice. It's hydrating, it's cooling, it has a really subtle, very subtle glow. I wouldn't call this really a glowy primer. Not in the way that something like the Maybelline or the Tarte Glotion, Charlotte Tilbury, this one just has a very subtle glow to it. Okay, let's add some foundation. Let's go with this one today. It's the e.l.f. Camo CC Cream. I used this on my skin in my last video and I thought my skin looked so nice. I wanted to try and use it again. So this is the shade 240W. It's a tiny, tiny bit too light for me, so I'm just going to add a very small bit of my Wet n Wild Dewy Foundation in Caramel. So just one little dot right there. And mix these together on the back of my hand and then just start kind of grab the rest on my sponge and then just start tapping it on. I did a terrible thing before I started filming this video and I started picking at a couple of spots on my face, which I've never done in front of the camera before. Usually that's like a nighttime ritual, and even then I don't do it very often. What was I thinking? I knew I was getting ready to film a video, so I have a couple spots on my face right now that are really red of my own doing. Just a little stressed. School starting, having to buy a lot of school supplies and get my son ready to go back to college, and he's moving into a new dorm. Oh, it's stressful. All right, let's jump over to the concealer. So again, this is the Flower Beauty Get Real Serum Concealer. I didn't even know this existed. It's been a while since I've shopped for anything new from Flower Beauty because their website's kind of been on hiatus. I'm not sure how long this one's been out or around. I don't know anything about it. I didn't even read any reviews. I just thought we would just jump in and try it. I got two shades. This one is the shade Light. This was so tricky and I really felt like the shades on their website I had a feeling they were very deceiving because the shade that said light looked very, very dark in the swatch. So I didn't know if I should go with the name or with the actual swatch. So here's the shade light. I also went with the shade ivory, again, because it looked kind of darker on the website. And this one I think is going to be almost unusable for me. Look how light that is. I mean, it's like pure white. It has kind of like a pink cast to it. So if you have very like porcelain skin that's more of a pink undertone, seems like a pretty light shade match for a drugstore concealer. So often when I'm picking out drugstore concealers, I always find that the lightest shades are never quite light enough, which is maybe why I went with these 2 shades. I should have gone with this one and then one darker. I think this one might work for me today. I think we'll be able to get it to work. Kind of bummed about that. That's all right. Just gonna take the shade light, put that under my eyes. I also feel like this one has, maybe it's not a bad undertone. I was worried it maybe looks a little kind of like peachy orange, not like yellowy, like peachy orangey, which usually looks off on my skin tone. I do have some olive in my skin, so anything too pink or peach usually just looks a bit off. And then I might put just the tiniest dot of the ivory shade right on this little inner part of my eyelid and then right underneath my brows. Hopefully that won't be too much. Let's give that a good blend. See what this formula is like. Yeah, this is definitely gonna be a little too light for me, especially for this part of my face. I have a feeling it's gonna look a little bit strange. Consistency seems pretty nice. It's not too greasy. I don't know. Sometimes when something's called a serum, concealer or foundation, sometimes they can feel a little bit too hydrating. I don't feel like this one feels that way so far, so that's actually good. I'm just really bummed about the shade. It's definitely off. Okay, so there is the concealer. I feel like I had pretty good coverage. I would love to get one more shade, probably just the shade below this one, the shade light would probably be just right for me, especially for this area of my face where it's a little bit darker. You can see how it's kind of like, I have this like spot of brightness right here that's just not really blending in. But I like the consistency of it. I feel like the coverage is a good high medium. I don't know that it's my fullest coverage concealer, but it's pretty good coverage. I'm not unhappy with it. Really quickly, I want to set down my eyelids with a little bit of just standard powder. This is just my Rimmel Stay Matte. I want to get this on quickly before I get any creasing. And then I'm gonna set the rest of my face with the powder inside the Glow Bar. So let's dip into this next. This is normally a pretty pricey palette. It's pretty large though. I'm kind of surprised at the size of this thing. I'll insert a close-up of it for you guys right here so you can have a closer look. As I mentioned, I got mine on sale. I wanna say it was about 30% off, so I got it for about $33. So here it is. We have Blur Champagne, which, these look the same. I think this one is meant to be kind of a setting powder. This one's meant to be a highlighter, then this one is a bronzer. So there's Champagne, Blur, Sunlit, and Bronze Glow. So let's just try some of this right here. I'm gonna use a larger brush. Let's take this one. This is from Rephr, the number 25. We're just gonna take a good bit of that on this large powder brush. And let me just make sure I don't have anything settling, and we'll just kind of dust this everywhere. I think that's what you're supposed to do with these. Just anywhere I would normally set down my foundation, my smile lines, kind of between my brows, on my forehead, a little bit on my cheek where I had some things to cover. All right, there we go. Let's jump over to the bronzer next. This looks very light. I hope it shows up on me okay. I'm gonna apply that with my Sydney Grace powder brush. This one's really nice and dense. I like using a denser brush when I have a bronzer shade that's a little on the lighter side, because I feel like it does a better job getting it to show up on me. So I'm just gonna take that on my brush, start here and just build that up. Okay, it's definitely showing up. That's warm, but it's very pretty. I was worried when I first put it down that it was gonna be orange, but now that it's blended, it reminds me a lot of Luminous Bronze Light from Hourglass, which I do really like. It's a very warm bronzer, but it's like a good warm. Take a little bit on my forehead, try and warm up my complexion a little bit more. A little bit on my neck, run a little bit further in and kind of on the side of my nose. All right, there we go. The skin's a little bit warmed up. That looks much better. Let's add some of the highlighter. First, I want to swatch these with my fingers because they look exactly the same in the band. There's got to be a difference between these two shades. So, oh gosh, I don't know. It's definitely a different kind of highlighter. It's not very shimmery. So this is the highlighter. This is the champagne blur that I used all over my face. It's not a very shimmery highlighter. I already can tell. This is not gonna like do it for me when it comes to highlighters because I usually like a good amount of shimmer in my highlighter. But let's give it a try. Don't knock it before you try it, as they say. Okay, so this is like my third layer. It is a very, very subtle highlighter, which I should have known this maybe going into this palette. This is exactly how I feel about the Hourglass palettes. And I actually think the Hourglass highlighters do have a little bit more glow than what I'm getting from this one. That said, I do think it looks really pretty. It just doesn't give me the level of highlighter that I typically like. If you are someone that often looks at the highlighters that I'm using and the amount of highlighter that I'm using and thinks, this woman is a disco ball, I would never use highlighter like that, this might be more your speed because it's very subtle. It's even more subtle than the Essence Pure Nude highlighter. It kind of reminds me of the one from Honest Beauty that I tried out a little while ago. I don't think that it looks bad. It's just not going to give you any sort of shimmer. It's a very subtle glow. I'm already kind of a little disappointed in this palette. I'm going to give it a little bit more time. The packaging is gorgeous. Maybe it'll grow on me as I play with it a little bit more. I just was really hoping one of those shades would have a good amount of highlight in them. I mean, something called a glow bar. You assume something's going to really make you glow. And I just don't know that I'm getting that from this palette. All right, let's move on. I'm gonna add some blush. I'm just gonna take a little bit of my Blush Please from MAC. What do? You win some, you lose some. I feel like I shouldn't call this one a loss already. Ah, blush in to save the day. This is one of the best blushes. It's so good. All right, there we go. Cheeks are done. They actually look really pretty. Maybe I need to give the palette a little bit more time before I judge it harshly. But for now, let's jump over to the eyeshadow palette. So as I mentioned, I got this new ColourPop Petals on Point palette. This looked so pretty on their website. Hopefully the color story and the formulas will be good. So here's what it looks like. It totally looks like a ballet slipper. This reminds me of the colors of ballet. Really a perfect name for this kind of color story. You get some grays in here. The pinks are very cool toned. They lean a little bit kind of bluish purpley, but everything's very soft and kind of feminine looking. Here's a close-up of the palette for you guys to look at and some swatches. Let me just have a feel for some of these formulas. They feel pretty nice. Give a quick little swatch to those three lightest shimmers. They're pretty. Not bad. Okay, so why don't we just jump right in and see what we can create with this. I'm going to take my Persona brush and let's start off in this shade right here, this light soft pink. This is the shade Grand Finale. We're going to put that all up. I'm going to put that through the crease. Okay, this has some serious pink in it. It's very pretty though. Do you guys see that? It's a very cool kind of blue toned purpley pink. It's a lot more pigment than I was thinking that it might. That is beautiful. Let's add a little bit more to the outer corner. I'm gonna take some of this shade right here, Encore. We're gonna dip into that with the other side of the brush. I'm gonna start applying that right by the lash line and slowly just feathering it up into the crease. Okay, and this one's not quite as dark as I was thinking it might be. Still very cool toned. Nothing in here is warm. I'm gonna try and add a little bit of that to the lower lash line as well. The shade is not as pigmented as I thought it would be. It's not bad. The performance is not bad. It's just not going on as dark as it looks in the pan. Have to layer it up a little bit. I kind of like that. I think it makes it easier to keep the look nice and soft, which is kind of the vibe I get from this palette anyways. So I just got done planning out videos for the month of August, and one of them was supposed to be brands that I have kind of lost interest in. One of those brands, I don't want to spoil too much, but one of those brands might have been ColourPop. We'll talk about it more in an upcoming video, but I think it's funny that I just picked up a new eyeshadow palette from them, but they are one of those brands over the last 2 years in particular. I just have gotten a little burned out on. So I've kind of started just, if I want to try something out from ColourPop, I'll usually just get something at Target or at Ulta. All right, let's keep going. I want to add just a tiny bit more to this outer corner. I don't want this look to be too smoky, but I want to add just a little bit of depth right there at the lash line. I'm debating between using this charcoal right here or using the shimmer, which I don't usually do, but I feel like that might be kind of fun and different. Let's do that. Let's go with the silvery shimmer. This is Up to Bar. For that, let's take this little pinpoint brush right here. Just gonna build some up in the brush. Actually, different brush. Let's take this little smudge brush from Sydney Grace. I just want something dense. I love that Persona brush, but it's not as dense as I feel like I need with this shimmery of a shade. So I'm gonna build that up in this smudge brush and just tap it along the lash line. Okay, the shade is just being weird. I feel like it needs to be applied with the finger. This is gonna be difficult, but I'm gonna try it anyways. Just go right in with my finger, right along the lash line. That's definitely better. I could probably wet it and get it to work better with a brush. Okay, you know what? I'm actually gonna put this shade on the outer lid. It's a little bit more of like a sheer deep silver. I don't feel like it works very well as a liner. It'll be better as like a lid shade. So we're gonna put on the outer half of the lid and then we'll overlap one of those lighter shimmers. And now let's add, we're gonna take this one right here, this light pink in the top corner. This is Satin Tips, also on my finger. This one looks so pretty. I'm gonna tap that, the inner part of the lid, all the way to the middle, and then we're gonna kind of press where those two shades meet, get them to merge together. All right, now I just want to go back to that little pinpoint brush, wipe it off really good. We're gonna dip it into this icy white right here. Let me wet it just a little bit. Then dip it into the white. We're gonna add the tiniest bit of this right to the tear duct. Add a spot of brightness. Did I just offend all of my British watchers with my terrible accents? I have the worst accents. We are almost done. I just want to go back. I'm going to attempt again with this matte, what I tried with the shimmer that didn't work so well. Back with this smudge brush, I'm just going to dip the very tip into there. We're going to kind of use this as a liner today. I'm just going to apply it right along the lashes. I kind of feel like I need more depth there. More than anything, not necessarily for the look. I feel like the look is perfect where it is, but because we're using false lashes today, this is going to help me out with my false lashes. Having liner on, if you're not an expert at applying false lashes or you're worried about how they look when you look down, if you don't get them in the perfect position, having some liner on can help disguise eyelash mistakes. There we go. That's a very pretty eye look. Let's add some mascara. Then we're gonna jump over to the eyelashes. Just gonna throw on a couple coats of my Tower 28. Okay guys, eyes are finished so far. This is pre-eyelashes. The eyes look beautiful. The eyeshadow looks beautiful. I also threw a couple things in my eyebrows. I went with just a little bit of my ABH Brow Freeze, and then I threw in some of my brow powder. This is the Soft Brown palette from Sydney Grace. And I'm just realizing I probably should have used like a really lightweight mascara. The Tower 28 mascara is perhaps my all-time favorite mascara. It does such amazing things for my lashes. I don't feel like I need false lashes on, but we're gonna try them out anyways. I'm just a little worried that it's gonna be a little bit too much with how heavy these lashes look, but let's just give it a try. Worst case scenario, I can just pull them off at the end. Here they are. These are the Eyelure London 3/4 length number 5 light volume lashes. Again, these are pretty cheap. You can get these for about $5 per set on Ulta. Here we have them right here. Now the 3/4 lengths are still a little bit too long for me. My eyes are pretty small with a full strip of lashes, which I don't ever use. I have to cut a good chunk off of them because they're way too big for me. So these are going to be on their own. These would be basically, they might be 3/4. I don't know. Now I'm a little bit worried if I cut them off, they might be a little bit too short. So why don't we just try them as they are? I was planning to maybe trim a cluster or two off, but let's just give these a try as is. So I'm gonna take a little bit of my Duo Lash Glue. I can just already tell, guys, these are more like an advanced eyelash, which is beyond my abilities. Oh, cross our fingers.
Time to look into it, and you'll see it's very true. And as you say, they're on the record on camera saying it's
Okay, here we are. That literally took me about 35-40 minutes to get these lashes on, you guys. They were not easy to put on. These are definitely not as easy to put on as the lighter, more kind of feathery ones. The fact that these are so sparse and kind of lightweight, they're more of like a supplemental lash than a full strip set of lashes. These ones are much thicker. I'm not sure that they look great on me. I'm not sure that I applied them perfectly. I feel like this one needs to be bumped in just a little bit, but here they are. If this is your thing, if you're better at applying eyelashes than I am, you might not have trouble with these. I doubt that I'll use these ever again because I just can't put lashes on like this. The eyeshadow's beautiful. Let's move on to the lips and then we'll be done. So I do have a new Nonstop Nude. I actually have one open right now, so there's really no sense in opening this one yet. Let's just pull out my old one. This one was just about gone. Actually, this was the whole reason I went onto the Ulta website because I noticed that I needed to replace this one. It's one of my favorites. Isn't that the perfect nude color? Let's add a little bit of gloss. I have a new gloss. This is from CoverGirl, one of their yummy lip glosses. This one is in the flavor Coconut's About You. Let's give this a little, it smells so good. These are very yummy. Let's add some of this. Here's a little swatch. You can see it's mostly clear. I think most of these are kind of more of a clear base. They're not really meant to add much color. Do you guys know if any of these have shimmer in them, or are they all kind of just like a clear shine? Very comfortable though. Very nice and glossy. And there you have it, guys. I think that is everything. What did you guys think? What do you think of the finished look? Let's just go through everything really quickly. I'll keep playing with the concealer. It looks okay. It felt nice. I feel like the coverage is good. My skin in general looks really nice today. Really wish I would have gone with one shade darker. I think I could really use that. And this one is pretty much useless to me unless I'm looking for some white paint or unless I get very, very fair in the wintertime. But I did like the formula of it. We'll keep playing with the Tarte palette. I should have done a little bit more reading. I don't know, you guys. Like the bronzer, I feel like these two are gonna fall into the same trap that my Hourglass setting powders fall into. I just don't know that I'm gonna use these very often, which is unfortunate because the packaging is so pretty, but I'm not gonna give up on it yet. I'll keep playing with it and maybe it will grow on me. These specific lashes, I feel like I look ridiculous. They're a little uncomfortable because they're thicker, so you can definitely feel them on your eyes. I don't know, do you guys think they look weird? I just think a thicker, very dense lash like this just really is heavy on my small eyes. These ones I would highly recommend. They're much easier to apply because they're so lightweight. They don't add too much. They just add a little tiny bit of flutter and length to your outer corner so they don't close off your eyes. They just add a little something extra. They're amazing. If you are a lash dummy as I am, I would recommend these over the ones that I am wearing right now. Love the gloss. The eyeshadow palette is very pretty, very soft looking, feminine kind of palette. It's kind of like a bluer tone of the Blush Crush palette, like a cooler tone Blush Crush. Nothing's overly pigmented, but they definitely show up. I love the shimmer on the eye, and I love just kind of the gray, cool kind of pink tinge to the whole look. It's very feminine and pretty. The shimmers all performed great. I love that sparkle on the inner corner, but I'll keep playing with it, let you know if my thoughts change, especially as I use a couple of these other shades. But that's it, you guys. That is everything. What do you guys think of these makeup products? Have you tried them out yourselves? I'd love to hear your thoughts on them in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Hope you guys are all doing well. Let me give you one last reminder. If you have not yet subscribed, be sure to do that before you leave, and I will see you all very soon in my next video. Bye.